All right, now I'm going to jump to introductions because I know you didn't come here to listen to me. You came here to see these two fabulous women speak. Right here on my left, yes, thank you, Betty. This is Betty Bloom. Betty's story is in the book here that we're going to hear about. Betty arrived in Golden in 1959. She was the wife of a young Navy veteran who had received a fellowship from the Colorado School of Mines to pursue postgraduate work in geological engineering. After he completed his studies, he went along with two other men and they formed a geological exploration company named Earth Science Inc. Betty came to Golden, and in Golden she remains. To my far left is Miss Lorraine Wagenbach. Lorraine moved to Golden at a very early age when she was young. She's lived her whole life here. She is one of our respected local historians and an author of several fabulous local history books. Please welcome Betty Bloom and Lorraine Wagenbach.
Thank you for coming. And I'm going to give you a brief history of what the Pioneer Delphian Study Club, how it came to be. It was in 1929.
You guys hear that?
No. You only turn it on. You can't hear me.
Now.
That's better.
Is that better? Okay. In 1929, there was a group of young ladies in Golden, and most of them had never gone to college, or whose studies had been interrupted by marriage or careers. And they organized the Pioneer Delphian Society in the fireside room of the Alpine Drugstore. This building is now occupied by Dell's Tonsler Parlor, and the fireside room
Can we turn it's cranked all the way up?
is now the home of the Golden Hair Design. The fireplace is still there. The Delphian Society was based in Chicago, and enrollment required purchase of a set of books at the cost of $90. This is part 9, the building of our social structure, the Middle Ages. Part 11, the building of the social structure, the Renaissance. Part 12, appreciation of music. Young ladies in Golden in 1929, most of whom had never gone to college or their studies had been interrupted by marriage or career, organized the Pioneer Delphian Society in the fireside room of the Alpine Drugstore. The building is now occupied by Dell's Tonsler Parlor, and the fireside room is now the home of Golden Hair Design. The fireplace is still there. The Delphian Society was based in Chicago, and enrollment required purchase of a set of books at the cost of $90. The books, well, as I mentioned before, were very in-depth. You know, the history of the Renaissance, the Middle Ages, and then appreciation of music. Well, after 4 years, the Chicago office contacted the Delphian Study Society and asked them to continue their course of study. However, because of the Depression and the cost of the books, which had become too expensive, and so it was decided to discontinue the national membership and become the Pioneer Delphian Study Club. The club motto was, and continues to be, not what we have, but what we share. One member recalls that when she joined the Delphian Study Club, it was meeting in the library, which is now where the Bank of the West stands. The meetings were conducted on a very formal basis. Everyone took care to dress up. They included wearing a hat and frequently gloves, and it was a time of learning as well as a social gathering. At present, the club continues to meet twice monthly at the First United Presbyterian Church, and the meetings are very informal. Programs through the years have been about Colorado history, psychology, foreign studies, drama, travelogues. Well, we now fast forward to 1980. Instead of reviewing books and discussing current events, the ladies of the club, in a playful mood and motivated by Lorraine, thought it would be fun if each of us wrote an autobiography of our life in Golden, recording factual and humorous events that we remembered. We wrote volumes, which were greatly edited by Lorraine, and resulted in the book, A Woman's Life in Golden, which is this book. Lorraine also was the person who found the publisher, After editing some of the stories, she realized that Coors industry was included in many of the stories. And so she went to the public relations department and asked if they might be interested in publishing the book. And they eventually agreed. And so the limited edition became a reality. Well, we now fast forward another 30 years to 2010. Lorraine, on a visit to the Golden History Center, pitched the idea to the staff to republish the book. They agreed, and the book is the museum's first publication. There has been a misconception that Lorraine and I wrote the book, but we are only the contributors. But of course, Lorraine has written a new foreword to the book, and as he showed you what the book looks like, and it's on sale here. And so now, Lorraine and I are going to give you little snippets of the 27 ladies' stories recorded in the book.
The first chapter of the book was written by a charter member of the club. She was born in Golden in 1902 and begins her article with a description of our town at that time. She describes every business place and its exact location. She notes, this is her quotation, the Colorado and Southern Railway ran many trains daily from Golden from Denver through Golden. In the winter, the trains hauled freight into the mountains and brought back the ore to be treated at the smelter east of Golden and other places throughout the state. In the summer, many excursion trains took tourists to see the beauty of the Rockies and the mining towns and how the pioneers lived. She records, in 1900, the only means of public transportation to Golden to Denver was the Colorado Central Railroad. The train left Golden at 9 in the morning and returned at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. It pulled into the Union Station in Denver 1 hour after departure from Golden. One did his shopping in Denver and returned to the Union Station at 3 p.m. to board the train for the return trip. I took this trip twice a year with my mother and my grandmother, once in the spring to purchase summer clothes and once in the fall to purchase winter clothes. She recalls very vividly, I recall the Koenig Mercantile Company. This is where the Golden Grill is now situated. As one opened the front door of the store, there was a comfortable bench where one might sit and visit with other shoppers. Bananas were hung from the ceiling, and they were cut off in the quantity the customer wished. Coffee, sugar, spices, and salt, and pickles were sold in bulk.
This next lady saw the light of day. This next lady saw the light of day at the Golden Queen Dairy in 1905. Her father owned and operated the dairy, which is located where the Foss Ranch is now. Her first recollection of Golden was when her dad took her to deliver butter. These deliveries were made by horse and buggy. They didn't own a surrey with a fringe on top, and they made do with a one-seat buggy drawn by a horse. The horse was named Daisy and was very skittish and almost shy at anything. When she was about 4 years old, her father bought a bright red Mitchell automobile, open air type, complete with carbon lights, steps, and a squeeze-type horn. The usual pattern was to start on a short trip, and they usually arrived at their destination, but the return trip was another story. The car refused to take them home, and so her brothers would have to hitch up the team of horses and come to their rescue. On one occasion, driving home in the open-air beauty, her dad stopped in the middle of the road, and everyone was looking up at the sky. They all seemed excited, and of course she wondered why. She later learned that they were watching Halley's Comet. It failed to make an impression on her, she said. Another happy outing that they always look forward to is a trip to Lookout Mountain via the funicular. Does anybody know what a funicular is? There's a picture on the front of the newsletter here. And Webster's Dictionary says that it's a railway, a cable railway, any form of mountain railway in which the ascending car and the descending car counterbalance each other in weight. The trip started at the tramway depot, which is where Foss Drug is now, and the Stanley Steeper then took them to the foot of the mountain where they would take a cable car to the top. On reaching the top, they'd climb out and take a short walk until the car was ready to return to Golden. She says that if the trip was taken in early July, you would be privileged to see a field of columbines in full bloom. At that time, there were no stores or buildings at the top. It was in 1915 that they built the automobile road, and the funicular became obsolete. However, the trail is still visible, and many hikers use it. She records that another topic of conversation that never failed to bring comments was the big snow of 1913. The kids thought it was the most exciting thing that had ever happened. However exciting as it was marred by the death of a neighbor who was lost in the storm on his way home. His body wasn't found until 2 months later, 200 yards from the house. After the storm, the kids rode to school in sleighs, and it was the only time that she remembers having a sleigh ride. Because they were unable to get the horse out of the barn, Daisy, her brother and dad took a horse-drawn sled to deliver milk to people with babies and young children. About 1923, Golden felt the need of a new high school. However, some thought that the 50-year-old high school was not needed to be replaced at this time, but finally it was decided to build a new school. Then there was a hard argument. Do we build it on the north side or the south side? The north side and south side of Golden, I might add, was a very contentious thing as to whether you lived on the north or south side.
Right.
Lorraine. Well, the outsiders won out, and it was built at the site of Guy Buckman's Speed Store and Corral, which is now 10th and Washington. The class of 1924, of which she was a member, was the first class to graduate. And the last thing she wrote was that it was a happy day for Golden when Washington Avenue was paved. There had been an article in the Denver Post that said, "Golden Streets, a place where angels fear to trod." She said she doesn't know if the article had any influence on the city fathers, but the paving came soon after.